G'day guys, Chaos Chronicles. So I thought we'd have a chat about drugs in jail today, and because it's an issue. Do you know what I mean? It's an issue. That's why most of these people are in jail. And if people think that just because people are in jail that they're gonna stop taking drugs because they are in jail, then they are sadly mistaken. In my experience, probably 80% of the jail population uses drugs all day, every day in jail. And, you know, there's multiple drugs that get around, but obviously the most common one is Suboxone, and then probably close after that would be meth, ice, and then you have, the other powders that would come in after that. You don't really see like heroin and cocaine and stuff very much. Like, does it come in? Yeah, absolutely it does. But, mainly the ones that get the heroin in, they aren't going to be telling anyone they've got it in because, there's certain people in there that will kill people to get that, And, yeah, so but the ice and the bupe, the Suboxone, is a problem in jail. So, even at sometimes you can be at a prison and, probably up to 90% of that jail use bupe, Suboxone. When I say bupe, I'm talking about Suboxone because that's what everyone calls it here in Victorian jail. I know they call it subby and stuff in other prisons and in America as well. But I actually don't think so. In all my experience and people that I've spoke to, stuff that I've watched, I'm pretty sure that like bupe isn't a problem in American prisons. Well, if it is, it's definitely not a problem like it is in Victorian or any Australian prison. So, there's a few myths about bupe that I'll just kill straight off the bat. And so, like, people think that you can die from taking Suboxone, and no matter what way you take it, whether people inject it, people snort it, people take it normally, people smoke it, and yeah, so you can't overdose from it. So, like, I've even heard screws say that as much as, they're going to police it, but they don't go looking for it like they did, like they go looking for heroin, ice, or any other powders, And so what is it? So what is bupe? So it is literally, if you guys know what a Listerine strip is, I think they're called like soluble, like breath mints. And so you put that on your tongue, and that definitely will stop you from having bad breath. Now, with the Suboxone, it's exactly the same size, same thickness and everything, probably the same, looks and feels exactly the same, except bupe strips are red or orange, they are actually, and Listerine strips are green. And so they're exactly the same. So in every way, they're exactly the same, the way they look, size. That's what I mean by exactly the same. And so, people get it whole like that in a strip form like that, which is how it comes from your pharmacist or from the chemist. The people that get it in jail, though, so if you're getting bupe off people in jail, that has been in their mouth for about anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. And so what they do, this is disgusting, they literally go back to the unit, and now it's a strip. Back in the day, it used to be like a pill, which means obviously it was crushed up powder they crushed it up. And so what they do is they put it, the chemist at the jail put it under their tongue, and they have to sit there with two screws watching them to make sure they can't get it out. Now, I'm not going to go right into detail how they get it out, but this is common knowledge. Do you know what I mean? And obviously the screws know what they're looking for, and everyone knows anyway. So, but they use what's called a boat inside their mouth, so they get their medication right. And I can do this myself. So what they do, and this is exactly the same way as people get their medication out as well. So you can actually swallow it to a certain point in your throat, and then you can go just like that, and it will come back up in your mouth. And so, like, people do that with their medication, they swallow it, and so it looks like they've swallowed it, but it's literally just like there's literally like a little like ledge thing right there, and it literally sits on top of that, and then you just have to like breathe out, and it will come out. And so people do the same, but they swallow the boat and they put that down their mouth, and then while they're being watched, they cough it up and they spit it into their mouth, and then with their tongue they scoop all the Suboxone, the bupe, and put it in that, and then they will seal it with their teeth. A lot of them make it out of like a toothpaste, the bottom of a toothpaste thing, because it can be folded, and like, it's not going to unfold. They just use anything that's going to be somewhat waterproof, and then they get back to the unit, they spit it up. There is so many other ways that people get it out, but I'm just going to give you that one. And then obviously people bring it in, and it's a big problem in jail because people are going to take drugs in jail, right? It's for some prisoners, it's the worst time of their life. And it's boring. It is absolutely boring. And, there's probably people thinking, well, it's jail, it's supposed to be boring. Yeah, that you're right. But when you're doing years in jail, like the boringness tends to kill you more than anything, And so people get drug habits in prison because it's just easy. I know that's why I did it. And so with me, I just thought, yeah, I'm not going to go through every day stressing out about shit, rah, rah, rah. And, it seemed like the bupe took the edge off. And I know that's exactly why everyone else takes it. And, it doesn't take long before you've got a habit. Like, this is a habit forming drug. So its main use is for, the reason it was brought out. Well, I actually believe it was brought out for alcoholics, and then they realized that it was going to work for heroin addicts as well, so they started using it for heroin addicts. And it was called buprenorphine when it first came out, and it's now called Suboxone or Subutex. And it's habit forming because, and also, like, I believe that when they made it, they didn't think that it was habit forming. Now, like, compared to like methadone and stuff like that, it's not as addictive as that, but like it's still addictive, and people get sick when they don't have it. So like it causes conditions in the jail that you just can't explain. So like I've mentioned it in other videos, and it's like 10 o'clock or whatever jail you're in. I know at Barwon it's like after lunch sometime, but at Barwon they go in there to get their Suboxone at about 9:30, and they come back through at about 10 o'clock, right? And then so 10 o'clock, every yard that's got a buper in there, you've got people waiting for them to get back. And like some of them don't even make it back to the unit before they're belted and had everything taken. And so like, people often say that they're going to, I hear it all the time, and because there is money to be made off it. There's something that you can get like 50 of them off the chemist a week, 50 or 60 or something like that a week for free, and you can sell them for a minimum of $100. So that's $6,000 bang there like that, and so it's big money in it. And so like they are big commodities in jail, and not only that, they're easy. If you need to bring drugs in, they're easy to bring in because they're so small, and you can roll 100 of them into a ball that's that big, and like so they're easy to get in the jail. And it's a problem because like people want to be stoned every day, but obviously like unless you have got a good rort going, a good hustle, or unless, you're threatening that bupa or something and you're getting bupa every day for free, it's expensive. So like most jails, it's one deal for one pouch. So I say pouch now, it's just habit, I suppose, but like they don't have smoking in jails anymore in Victoria. But the price of a pouch was around $30 or just under $30, and before they stopped it, so that's how much people pay. And like people can't pay it, and so they end up stabbed and bashed and and bailing and taken off. And so like it's a big problem. But drugs like are a big problem, like more than anyone would think, because like, all right, when meth is like in jail, it's like hectic. So like it's so funny to watch too. It's like party time when the first day it comes. Like you literally can just see half the yard like off their head and like moving around at a million miles an hour, talking at a million miles an hour. People are paranoid and that. But the day after is like every time someone kicks in meth, you can guarantee the day after there's going to be something crazy going down because the paranoia sets in. They must have it that night. The paranoia sets in when they're in their cell. And then next thing you know, they're walking around the yard with 15 shanks on them. And like, you can guarantee that every single time that there is meth in the yard, the day after, there is going to be some dramas surrounding that. That's for sure. And same with meth. People get it, and obviously, in prison, it's very hard to pay cash up for something. You have to get it on tick, and which means you have to get it on credit, and therefore pay it on canteen day. And so, like, mate, drug addicts are going to tell you whatever you want to hear if they know that they're going to get drugs for free. So, come payday on canteen days when there's drugs around, any drug around, because it's all the same thing. You can't pay cash for it. You have to get it on canteen day. And there's always dramas around it. And then you've got other dramas, like people think that they're going to get drugs in and like they think that that's going to make their problems better, when the reality is, if you are a nobody in jail, like, and I say a nobody, like if you are like literally a person that somebody who's a somebody is going to have no problem with hurting, then I wouldn't suggest you get drugs in, because it's just not worth it. Because if people know that you've got drugs and they don't have drugs, the first thing they're going to say is, "What, am I a dog?" And you're going to be like, "What?" And they're going to say, "Well, you obviously think I'm a dog because I'm not getting any, and you gave some to him, and him, but you haven't gave any to me." And trust me, that's almost the exact lines they will use too. And then you've got, not only that, you've got like, so bringing drugs in as well is dangerous. So just before I left on my big one, it was a pretty well-known younger dude, and he was actually in the slot. So they started doing visits in the slot, not down there, but some they did actually. But anyway, this guy was in the slot, and he got in drugs, and he actually died from a heart attack. So he had half an ounce of meth in his stomach, so 14 grams. Now, if you know different on the numbers, don't quote me on that. I've heard 10 different numbers, but like that's the one I heard the most. And and then so he had that in his stomach because they swallow it or put it up their butt so the screws can't find it. And he died in the slot. And of all places like that, you'd think that someone that's in segregation isn't going to be able to get it in, and they do. If they do have it in, they're not going to be able to hide it. But he did, and he died. And then I know that people will pressure you to bringing in drugs for them, and they do it. And especially and this is a reason why you don't get credit in jail, because you'll end up doing something like that for someone. And what will happen is what happened to this young dude. His name was Kane, and for whatever reason, I'm not going to go into that. It's not my business. But he was bringing in drugs for a certain group of people, and it had heroin in there, and from what I was told, I've been told two different things. I've told he knew it was there, and I've also been told that he didn't know it was there. His brother said that he didn't know it was there, but yeah, who knows? But anyway, and that's a common thing. What people do, they'll say, "Righto, you got to bring in tobacco," and if you tell people you're bringing in tobacco, it's a loss. It's the same as when you're trying to get screws to kick for you, and so um, yeah. So anyway, his brother told me that he didn't know it was there, but for whatever reason, people will put drugs like other drugs inside there without you knowing, tell people that they're bringing in tobacco, and then next thing you know, they've got a stomach full of drugs they didn't even know were drugs. And if you don't pack that properly, your stomach acids will eat away. So a common misconception is you can just put it inside one water balloon or one balloon, and you can't do that. Or one people use condoms as well, and they tie them off and then swallow it. But you definitely want to have 5 or 6 at least. Like all the stories I've heard of people dying was because they only had one balloon, and they were dead by the morning. And some people's metabolism work a lot quicker than everyone else, and your stomach acids will literally eat that balloon open, and that's literally what happens. But there's just so much bullshit comes with it. It causes dramas out of jealousy. It causes, the main one is out of jealousy. But when people can't pay, when people don't get it, it's just a big problem in jail. And it's a problem that will never ever be stopped. And as long as you have got like humans being screws or officers, it will never ever happen, because like and that's the difference between. I'm going to do a video on the difference between private jails and government jails. I'll tell you the difference between private jails and government jails. Is the difference is in you trying to find screws to bring your contraband in, or government jail or private jails where they come and find you and ask you if you want them to bring something in. And that's a very common practice. When they hear that they can make $10,000 for bringing in something that big, that's very appealing to a lot of people, especially when they're only making God knows how much. But all screws whinge that they never get paid. That they're on shit pay and rah rah rah. But yeah, drugs in jail, it's a big problem. But do I think that they're ever going to be able to stop it? No way. And also, like I've told you, this whole drone situation is a big thing now too. And it's scary for a number of reasons, because drones are just crazy like that. But it's scary in jail because when you're in prison, and of how easy it is for people to move things around, weapons with a drone, it just ends up being scary. And it wouldn't be the first time that anyone has been found. Guns have been found on a number of occasions at Port Phillip Prison. So that's crazy in itself. And why would someone have a gun in jail? There's only one reason why you're going to have it, and it's for protection. And if that time comes where you have to use it, someone is going to definitely use that instead of using the shank. And I couldn't even imagine of you about to have a sword fight with someone and you pull your shank out and then bang, out comes the derringer. That would be scary, mate. That would be literally scary. But yeah, drugs in jail, it's a big problem. Any drug that you can get outside, you can get inside, and a lot easier. So, jails have yards and pods and this and that. And so, they're not very big, and you do not have to go far to get it. And even if it's in another yard, it's as simple as this. This is how we used to get it from 1 yard to 4 yards away. We used to get tennis balls or apples. You get an apple every day, an apple or an orange. and we used to just sticky tape it to that and launch it as far as we could. And yeah, it used to spin people's out. Actually, when they made the new Matilda unit, we used to do it from Scarp South to Matilda and vice versa, and like that's a fair distance. And like I remember once we got a parcel thrown over, and it got stuck in no man's land, and I remember there was a few of us standing around going, "What are we gonna do now?" And the people that's thrown it, they're losing it. They're going, "You idiot!" Do you know what I mean? They're going, "You're still paying for it." And it was a lot of drugs. It was a bulk amount for a lot of people, and so there was a lot of people concerned. And I remember one of the boys just said, "I'm just going to go in there and get it." And I said, "Well, how are you going to get in there?" And I remember thinking in my head that this is not going to end well. I heard that they will shoot you if you are caught there. Have I ever seen that? Do you see the screws with guns? No, you don't, unless you're getting taken out of the prison. But sure enough, I couldn't believe how quick that took him to do. I remember he went back in and put because it was the middle of summer, he went in and put like prison greens on and literally climbed straight up the barbed wire and straight over it, went and grabbed it, chucked the parcel over and back over, and literally it seemed like it took 10 seconds, and I couldn't believe it. And we're all standing there going, well, no one's coming. And I remember we all walked off and we were all sitting off and looking, and they just were not coming. And I couldn't believe it. It's like, that's major security issues right there. Like that guy was in, they call it no man's land. And all it is like, so, this particular no man's land, there is times where crooks do get moved through there when they mow the lawns and stuff, but otherwise it's not used. But yeah, crazy time. I just couldn't believe it. But that's a private jail for you right there. All right, guys, that's a little bit about drugs in jail. I mean, obviously, I could go on and on and on about the drugs in jail, but basically, I just told you the most important stuff. And it's an issue. In my eyes, it's a big issue, and it will never ever be stopped as long as there are human guards. I don't think there will ever be robots, so like there will always be drugs, and that's the reality of it. And when you've got over 1,000 or around 1,000 hardened blokes in there bored, they are going to come up with ways to get stuff what they need. I'll tell you one quick story. So the laundry used to get laundry from one of these old people homes, and a few times the old people's laundry came with medication in it, but then it gave someone the idea to break into the old people's home, put drugs in there, and then the people will be able to pick it up in the jail, and it worked, and obviously they got found out. But it doesn't take much for people to figure out how they're going to get what they want when they've got 24 hours a day to think about it, and they do, believe me. But all right, guys, there's another video. If you guys haven't subscribed, jump up there and shoot me a subscribe. That would be really, really appreciated. Smash that bell. That way you never miss any of my videos. And drop a comment there. I will get back to you guys. Even if it does take me a day to get to you, I will get back to you. All right, guys. Chaos Chronicles. Let's go.